Before I go into my thoughts on the trailer, I just wanted to bring this up real quick. Isn't it interesting that we all grew up with these amazing, musical, magical Disney movies growing up? You know, you remember being a kid, you pop in the VHS of The Lion King, watch Timon and Pumbaa singing Hakuna Matata. Magical! But it's already interesting to think that we're in an age where we're getting retellings of all of these classic Disney movies, whether it's in live action or heavily CGI, multi-million-dollar A-list celebrity-heavy movies that it's weird to think about, because I've always been a firm believer that great stories are meant to be retold, and these are no exception. In fact, if you can make it good, why not just go ahead and make it? What's stopping you, really? But thinking about 30 years in the future from now, is Disney gonna revisit these in another way? Are they just gonna have to reanimate it with whatever new technology that's out? It always makes me curious because, you know, I'm only 23. I grew up with these movies. Some of you may be older. Some of these movies are between 20 and 30 years old. It makes me just wonder what they're going to be doing in the future because, like I said, great stories are always meant to be retold. I don't know. Guess we'll have to wait and see what the future holds. Anyway, my thoughts on the Aladdin trailer. I personally enjoyed it, which is weird because I was okay with the first two trailers. Really, they didn't really show that much. Well, the first trailer was just mostly a teaser, and the second one, well, it wasn't really even a trailer. It was just kind of a commercial in a way. Besides me thinking that the genie looked really silly in that commercial. Anyway, we're talking about this trailer particularly. I've always had a major soft spot for Aladdin because Aladdin's been one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid. Sometimes even more so The Lion King, because I love this score. I love the music so much. A Whole New World is actually one of Disney's top anthems. Like, you go to the theme parks, you hear that everywhere pretty much. Disney hasn't done a perfect job with these retellings. I mean, Beauty and the Beast, I personally enjoyed, but far from perfect. I still prefer the 2D animated version myself. However, my philosophy on remakes, reboots, and all that is never think of these movies replacing the original. Really, you're just getting this in addition. Like, these movies aren't going away, except for maybe the Disney Vault. But it's not like they're being erased from history. You're still always able to go ahead and just pop in the old Aladdin if you don't like the new one, right? So personally, I don't really find these live action or CGI heavy retellings of these Disney stories all that harmful, really. But I still have opinions. I've been seeing a lot of complaints about the ambiance and the design and the costumes of this movie, and personally, thus far, it hasn't really bothered me too much. I just kind of think of it as, I don't know, it's a whimsical yet still relatively realistic looking Agrabah to me. I think Aladdin looks great. I'm happy that he's wearing his shirt because if I ever want to cosplay Aladdin someday, I can wear a shirt rather than just wearing a vest over that and being like, hey, look at my nipples. And personally, I've actually really respected the choices that they've gone with the genie in this one. I think he looks great in genie form. I also think he looks great in the more realistic Will Smith human looking form. And I think that was a really tough challenge for the people at making this movie to make Genie seem, I don't know, not ridiculous in a way. Granted, he still might be ridiculous as a genie after all. Will Smith as a genie after all. And but with Will Smith, you gotta add some pizzazz to that, and I like the way that they did that, having a more blue genie form and a more human genie form when they're interacting with people and such. So props to them for that. But I've also been seeing complaints on Naomi Scott as Jasmine. Personally, I think she looks fine to me. People are saying that she's way too white for the character. I don't think that necessarily. I mean, her mom's even Ethiopian Indian, so I think that's at least pretty spot on, I suppose. I mean, who are we also to say what the residents of Agrabah looks like? Obviously, Agrabah is based off real places, but ultimately, Agrabah isn't a real place. However, I find it interesting the route they went with Jafar in this movie. And I've been seeing a lot of you actually agree with this as well. Why isn't he some creepy old guy? Right? Like, Jafar is supposed to be a creepy old guy. They even, like, reference that in the movie, right? Instead, he's played by a younger, attractive dude. Maybe they're just going for a more douchey Jafar, I guess, right? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I don't hate it. personally, I just find it odd. And I find it hard to hold judgment until I see the movie, because maybe he's great. Maybe this is the route they should have gone all along, with a younger Jafar in the animated movie. Probably not. I will say though that in everything I've seen of this movie thus far, I've been least impressed with Jafar, because I just find him very bland, honestly. Bland evil villain character in these trailers, and I think Jafar is like top tier Disney villains, so maybe we'll get some good stuff. There was like one shot in the trailer where he's like smashing down his staff. It's staff, right? And like there's like the red flames or whatever it is, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I'm like, I need to see more of that. And speaking of action shots like that, it's crazy to also see Aladdin do all this crazy parkour stuff. Like, if this Aladdin was in the Kingdom Hearts games, you would have seen a lot more tricks, I'm sure. I think Mina Masood thus far, I think that's how you pronounce his name, I think he really does seem to be Aladdin to me. Like, if you take the frame of him grabbing Jasmine's hand in this trailer and compare it with the frame of him in the movie, if you look at that, he looks like Aladdin. And he sounds like Aladdin. Now back to the genie. When they announced that Will Smith was playing the genie, I was very underwhelmed. I find Will Smith, he's a funny guy, but he's just Will Smith in everything he's in, right? It's just Will Smith. There's a Will Smithy quality about Will Smith that can't be described in anything other than it's Will Smith. And we get a lot of that Will Smithiness out of Will Smith in this trailer, playing the genie. And I gotta say, it works. Robin Williams was always such a great genie, right? That's the iconic genie from our childhood. And I think in order to match the level, you just gotta find someone that's as energetic and has that sort of charisma about them to play the genie. And personally, I thought Jack Black would actually have done a pretty good role, a pretty good job, I should say, at playing the genie, because he's funny. I think it would just been really funny to see him in that, I don't know, that blue genie mode, being this Jack Black self. I thought that would have been a good choice, but seeing Will Smith play the genie, not hating it. I am concerned though about A Friend Like Me, because A Friend Like Me is such a bop in that movie, and we only got one little snippet of that song in the trailer, and my god, first off, the visuals, super energetic. That's what you gotta do for A Friend Like Me. I was like, oh, that shot where he's doing like the little marionette thing with Aladdin, that was awesome. That was my money shot of the trailer right there. But I just really hope Will Smith doesn't talk his way through the song. I think that was fine with Robin Williams, but I find A Friend Like Me done best, like how it was in the Broadway production, if you're familiar with the Broadway production. In fact, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend pulling up A Friend Like Me from the Aladdin Broadway production, because it is such a treat to watch. James Monroe Iglehart, I think that's who he is. He does such a great job at being a genie. And Will Smith is a talented guy. I just really hope he doesn't talk through it like he did in that one snippet. I just gotta... You can do it, Will Smith. Please. My standout of the trailer, though, is A Whole New World. And I'm so happy to hear that Naomi Scott and Mina can sing. I think it sounded great. I never really said that about any of the other live-action retellings of their soundtrack before. I thought they sounded great. Now sure, is there auto-tune involved? Most likely. All of these Disney musicals now have a lot of auto-tune in it. And I don't know, I just like good songs. I think auto-tune is okay if done correctly and it's not overly used. And in this trailer, I still got those classic 90s Aladdin vibes from it. Now in this trailer, they also made it sound a lot more poppy with a lot more drums, a lot more of that epic style to it. And I'm a sucker for that, because I just love the epicness of these songs. And they really upplayed that with like the drum beats and everything. I just hope they don't do that in the movie. It's fine for the trailer, because I was like, yeah, A Whole New World, that's it, that's Disney. I hope they don't make it a pop version in the movie. I will say though, parts of this trailer seem kind of cheap to me, like the part where the genie is like telling Aladdin to go over there and he starts scooting Aladdin's feet and Aladdin's like sliding. It's a funny gag. I just think it didn't really look like a high budget Disney movie in that particular instance. It just kind of felt more like a romantic comedy to me. And in a way, I guess you can say Aladdin kind of is a romantic comedy, but I just hope we get less moments like that actually look like that. I want this movie to be as much of a grand spectacle as possible and not thrown in like all sorts of cheap humor. The other snippets in the movie seem super grand, like a spectacle to me. And I'm excited to see more of that. I enjoy the trailer. I thought it was a big step up from the past two. I'm just cautious at this point. I have a huge heart for Aladdin, and the songs I will sing constantly. I love it. So I'm excited. My hopes, I'm still gonna try to be mellow with it. I'd probably see it anyway, because it's Aladdin. I'm a Disney dweeb. I mean, da-da-da-da-da. But ultimately what I'm trying to get out of this movie is to revisit that magic of watching Aladdin as a kid and revisiting getting those songs stuck in my head. I love it. So I have hopes for this movie, and I hope it doesn't disappoint. I'm curious, what did you guys think about the trailer? I'm sure you guys are gonna tell me anyway. But yay, thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to Coop Daily, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Bye.